So, good evening everybody. Welcome to the Google Store, Tottenham Court Road. Pleased to have you here. Thanks for waiting with us. And yeah, a warm welcome from Google. Without further ado, I think I should be cracking on with introducing our special guest of the evening. Mr. Adam Matthews, with almost 200,000 followers on YouTube, also known as Mr. Tybox123. He's a very popular tech reviewer, and we're really pleased to have him in this evening with us.
So yeah, the Google 5X, the Nexus 5 that came out, I believe, 18 months, 2 years ago, was a ridiculously popular phone from Google because it had a whole bunch of high specifications at a ridiculously low price, and it had that clean Google experience that we see throughout all of the Nexus products. So rather than having, for example, with Samsung, where you get a TouchWiz interface over the top, which makes it a fair bit slower and a bit more laggy and a bit more complicated, the Google Nexus experience itself is always completely clean. And the Google Nexus 5 was a very, very popular phone. The next year they brought out the Nexus 6, and that was significantly bigger than the Nexus 5, and a lot of people didn't take to that quite as much as they did with the Nexus 5. So Google this time, although they still ran with a larger phone, the 6P, the actual Google Nexus 5X is exactly the same size as the original Nexus 5. So with this Nexus 5, you get all of the very latest specifications, you get a fingerprint reader on the back, you get an incredible 1080p display, you get a Snapdragon 808 processor, and all of these build to a really, really high specification phone. But like I say, the key feature with any Nexus device is that you're getting an operating system delivered to you that is as Google designed, not as someone else has decided to manipulate. So yeah, the Google Nexus 5X has really come off the back of an extremely popular phone, which was the original Google Nexus 5. So with the Nexus 6P, you get a Quad HD display. So essentially that's almost 4 times the amount of pixels that you would get on a standard 1080p display. So the resolution on this is 2560 by 1440 rather than the 1080p that we see on most televisions today. So all of those pixels compressed down into a tiny little screen like that mean that everything is ridiculously crisp, ridiculously sharp, and you will never be able to see a single pixel regardless of how close you look at it. And for those real kind of hardcore fans of the Google Android operating system, these really are the absolute cream of the crop because you do get that complete clean vanilla experience. And unlike a lot of Android phones that deteriorate in terms of performance over a period of time, you'll have these for at least a couple of years before you really start noticing any kind of slowdown or lag or anything like that whatsoever. These are very, very fast, high performing phones, especially for the specifications. Pure Android is the key. Now, the actual operating system version itself is called Google Marshmallow. Marshmallow's got a whole bunch of new kind of inviting features. My top 3 really are, first up, we've got the doze feature. So when you put your phone down and you're not doing anything with it for a couple of minutes, which never happens to me, I don't know about you, but some people do put their phones down, it literally uses a whole bunch less processor. Anything that's really, really kind of active that typically runs in the background all gets shut down and slowed down, meaning that your battery life is going to continually extend as you use it throughout the day.
And to pick a device, which would it be? I mean, we've had our hands on. If anyone does have any questions as well at these points, you can interject.
For me, between the two, I've got to go for the one with the Quad HD display because of the sheer amount of pixels in that screen. The technology is incredible. If you think about it, TVs now for at least 5 to 10 years have had 1080p full HD displays. So that's 1080 pixels running down the side of the screen. We've now moved on to 4K screens, but that's a fairly new technology, and that's in televisions. In this, we've got a full Quad HD display in something like that, which is just the most insane technology I think that's out there today. The screens are just absolutely phenomenal, and included in that ridiculously light package, you've got a battery that's going to power that for potentially up to 2 days.
So I'm sure we're all, of course, dying to know as well how you've made it so successfully on your YouTube channel and what you do in order to engage with others and how it is that you bring such a wide audience. Nearly 200,000 followers.
Yeah.
You can give any tips, any tricks?
I think there's a couple of key things in terms of YouTube. Now, obviously, there are now millions of people doing YouTube because they know that there is a certain element of financial reward. You know, you've got guys like PewDiePie, for example, earning, you know, $40, $50 million a year from making YouTube videos. In the tech world, for people like me, geeky people, it's even more exciting than that because you get the devices and you get paid for talking about those devices as well. But the key to kind of starting off YouTube is to forget that side of it and really just to allow your passion for the products and for the technology to speak for itself.
Thank you very much. But if you get paid to review a product that you don't like, what do you do in that case?
Yeah, you trash talking. Yeah, you definitely trash talking. If it's rubbish, it's rubbish. I'm not going to tell anyone it's not. Definitely not. No. I think if I was doing something else where it wasn't quite so consistent in terms of great products, it would be a bit more difficult. But I tend to look at more of the positives than the negatives. But definitely you have to be honest because your audience will soon give you a whole bunch of crap if you don't. Believe you me. And in fact, one more thing about making videos on YouTube, you've got to have a very hard skin. Because regardless of how good you are, or how nice you are, or how honest you are, you will get a whole bunch of people that just want to absolutely tear you to pieces. So a bit of advice someone gave me was that once you've made a video and it's out there, reply to a few comments from your subscribers because they'll see it immediately, and then never, ever, ever look at that video or the comments or anything to do with that video ever again. And that's probably one of the best pieces of advice I've ever had. Because on the few occasions I have, you just want to, you want to start ripping people out of the computer. It's horrible. A couple of bits of advice for you guys from a consumer point of view. When you're looking at your next phone. Something that I always like to tell everyone that's not necessarily involved in technology or spending all their time watching kind of geeky technical videos and stuff like that is make sure you get a phone that's got an adequate amount of storage. Because I don't know about you, but how many times do you hear like your friends say, oh, I've gone to take a photo and I've run out of storage. Don't worry so much about the overall specifications, the speed and stuff like that. Put your money into making sure you've got enough storage so you can actually use it for what it's intended for. So there's nothing worse than having a device and you can't take any more pictures of it because you've run out of space.
So 3 questions. Number 1 is, how do you advertise your... Because I know you do YouTube on the side, but that's not your main business, is it?
No.
You do VMware and
yeah.
mobility solutions and things like that. How do you advertise that? Do people come to you, or do you go out looking for business?
Yeah, so...
Number 1, before we answer. Number 2 is, have you seen the Steve Jobs movie? What do you think? The latest one. And number 3, why is the Osmo sound so rubbish?
Okay, so basically YouTube to me is a hobby, so it's just something that I do part-time for fun really because I'm passionate about the product. My main job is around real kind of deep IT stuff, so server virtualization, and I won't bore you to death. But the way that I advertise that business is I let other people do it for me by doing a good job. That's it. That's the only thing I do. The Steve Jobs movie, I haven't seen it. There are too many. And the third question was, basically he was asking a question about this device here. So, like I said, this is a full 4K camera with some really, really incredible extra features and functionality on it, over and above what you would get in any kind of device. But the sound quality is terrible. And it's a bit of a consistent thing really, because they've got a little microphone in there, and the way that this gimbal works to keep everything still all the time is using motors. So all it can hear is the motors from the camera. But it does have an input for an external microphone, which is what you want.
Christmas is obviously coming up, which is awesome. And you sound like a real perfectionist from talking to and everything. So I was just wondering, what are your top 3 things of your Christmas list? And what 2 things you recommend us to look for in the table?
Okay, so let me tell you that something that everybody should buy this Christmas and that is a drone. Okay, a little drone. Now, you know, a lot of people, when you say the word drone, you think, oh, thousands of pounds, really expensive, blah, blah, blah. It's not. If you go on a website called gearbest.com, you can buy one that fits in the palm of your hand. It's called a hexacopter, so it's got 6 blades on it, and it's, I think, about £11, something like that. Okay, if you've got children, grandchildren, sisters, brothers, nieces, nephews, for £11 they are going to have so much fun. They're going to learn better hand-eye coordination, they're going to have ridiculous amounts of fun with these little quadcopters, and maybe it would even influence them moving forward as to kind of other technology they like. But I think everybody should have a tiny little drone to fly around their house. Number 2, for me, would definitely be some kind of camera. I absolutely love video, I love photo, always taking photos and video all the time. And although you can get incredible results with a phone, a camera with a better lens, obviously on a phone, the size of the lens, the bit of glass, is minuscule. So there is only ever a certain kind of result that you can get. When you start moving on to a professional camera, something like that, not that kind of money, but just an actual camera, the results that you're going to get are going to be just so much better, and it just makes you want to take pictures even more. And I think photography is a great thing that everyone should kind of have a go at. And then the third thing for me would be some kind of wearable tech. So whether you're into fitness, for example, obviously I'm not, or whether you're into like actual technology, like, you know, have a look at some wearable technology. You can get like fitness bracelets, you can get smart watches, you can get a whole bunch of different things, and they're not necessarily expensive either. Even a lot of actual watch manufacturers now, people like Fossil, who make great price, Tag Heuer, all of those kind of people, they're bringing out their own smart watches as well, that aren't necessarily like a full LCD screen. You know, they're a nice looking timepiece, but with some technology. There's the G-Shock stuff as well, which has got Bluetooth. You know, have a look at some wearable technology. They would be my kind of top 3 really. But the top one, without a doubt, go and get yourself a drone and fly around. It's the best fun you'll ever have.
If I want to get a drone that will do decent video
Yes.
in the air, what's the minimum sort of cost involved in getting steady pictures?
I would say that if you were very, very careful about it, you could probably get maybe in the region of sort of £300 to £400 at the very least.
Second question for you, why do you use YouTube rather than Vimeo?
Okay, so the main reason is because YouTube, I forget the figure now, it's something in the region of, I think, 3 billion minutes of footage every hour or something like that is uploaded, let alone what is viewed. It's some absolutely insane figure. Vimeo's is nowhere near as impressive. So when you're wanting to put stuff out for an audience, you just want the biggest audience possible. Vimeo doesn't really have very much of a monetary reward scheme either. It's all based around donations and various other bits and pieces. YouTube's all based around advertisements, so you basically get paid for how popular you are, essentially.
As a tech blogger yourself, would you recommend to the audience any other tech blogs that you can subscribe to on YouTube?
Yeah, so us in the YouTube tech community are pretty close friends. So the people that I work with most regularly would be Marcus Brownlee, MKBHD, Unbox Therapy, Lewis from Unbox Therapy, Detroit Borg as well, Michael, Danny Widget, Matt Mixing, Dom. You know, there's a whole bunch of different ones that you can look at. If you search for tech YouTubers, it will probably go in that order that I just said it. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking those guys out. If you want entertaining tech videos, check out Lewis Unbox Therapy. If you want really in-depth, knowledgeable tech videos, check out NKBHD.
When the drugs wear off.